and I'm not throwing away my shots. What's going on, everybody? As promised, listen, I have just watched the full Hamilton play for the first time ever. I sat down, streamed it on Disney Plus, went all the way through it, and like I said, on my live streams, on my coverage of Hamilton, I'm going to give you guys my raw, unfiltered thoughts now. Now listen, if anybody wants to go see my full reaction to it, I've recorded it, I've posted it on my Patreon. I split it up into 2 parts, but 3 hours for you guys. Every single reaction, every single moment is on there. If you want to check it out, I'll put the links down below. For me, the first big thing that struck out to me was when I reacted to just the sound. Just the quality, the production, the delivery, the emceeing, the writing of Lin-Manuel. I just expected, I guess according to my imagination, that it would just be such a huge production. You know, so many set changes, so much going on, because it's not only a story of revolution, a story of betrayal, a story of loyalty, of love, of legacy, and everything in between. And it just takes us across so many different timelines and places. I thought that we would have just a huge budget production behind it. And what I was amazed to see was that it was simplified. You know, there wasn't massive stage building. There wasn't massive sets that were put in place. It was a pretty simple concept. But one of the cool things about it was that because it was so simplified, it really relied on the performance of the actors and the actresses to bring it home. You know, it made you really focus on the songs. It made you focus on the delivery, on the facial expressions, because you weren't massively distracted by all this grand staging and everything else going on. And they definitely delivered live. I mean, one of the most impressive moments for me was Guns and Ships, when you had Daveed Diggs playing Lafayette, be able to rap that fast, but not only do that, to do the choreography with it. I mean, there's this moment when he just leaps into the air like a majestical gazelle, and he's rapping at about 1,000 miles an hour. And it's just crazy, the cardio that they have to possess and the breath control to not only remember all those intricate lyrics and wordplay, but to spit that so clearly in the moment and still keep up with the choreography. Man, it was just another level. I was also very impressed with Leslie Odom Jr., who played Aaron Burr, and I talked about this as well, where Aaron Burr, you don't really like as much when you just listen to him. But when you see him and you see the way that he characterizes Aaron Burr, and they have these moments when the light really focuses on him, you see his lighter shades. You don't just see him as a villain to this story. You see him as human. And even Hamilton as well. This to me has got great character development, because you get to see the light and the dark. You know, the first half of the play, we're really rooting for Hamilton. We're really behind him and his rise and his legacy. But then the second half, he starts to make mistakes, and he starts to show that there is a darker side to even him as well. And then Aaron Burr, we also get to see a more rounded, more wholesome character, and we get to see the different colors to all of them. And I think that's what makes for a great plot and a great story, when you have that just fulfilling character development, that it's not like, okay, here's the hero, here's the protagonist, here's all the great things about him, let's root for him. In the end, he wins, he overcomes everything. I mean, at the end of the day, this was a tragic story as well. You know, we had a huge tragedy, and we lost one of our founding fathers, and we tell the story of that intricate and complex relationship between Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, and the jealousy and the trust, the friendship, the enemies, the betrayal, and everything in between that. It really is a human story that so many people have moments that they can relate to, that they feel, you know, that speaks to the modern and present day. It doesn't just take place in the past. You know, this is a story that we could see happening today. And as far as the raps go, I mean, from an MC's perspective, the story of revolution, the story of coming up from the bottom, of Hamilton being an immigrant, you know, coming from the slums essentially, and all of a sudden finding this power in this new place. It's a similar story to many rappers as they climb and as they rise, and using your pen to write your way out, to write your way up, literally, is what Hamilton did. So the story of Hamilton, even though it happens, you know, a couple hundred years ago, it still has so many connections to this day. And there's still just so many songs and so many moments that, you know, can connect to hip hop today, which I love, which makes so much sense now. And I love how Lin sat down, thought about this story, and thought about how he could really kind of modernize it and put just a new hip hop spin on it. And what's really cool is the moments when he just pays homage to the culture. You know, when you have the 10 dual commandments, and he plays off of Biggie's 10 crack commandments, and then he plays off of Tupac's Hit 'Em Up diss, and there's just even the Busta Rhymes style of rapping. There's so much homage being paid. You know, old school hip hop, boom bap, East Coast, some modern styles and flavors thrown in there as well. Yeah, it's very rich with not only a story of our American history, but it's very rich with hip-hop roots too. But it's not just about the raps. We have to give credit to the singers. I mean, Renee playing Angelica has just an angelic voice. I mean, her range is ridiculous. When she hit some of those power chords, I mean, she was at danger of just stealing the show with some of her moments. And then even the singing from some of the males as well. Leslie Odom Jr., he impressed me with his singing. Yeah, I mean, you've got these amazing flows and raps, but at the same time, you've got some really powerful singers as well up on stage. So you have kind of a mix between more of the raw ruggedness and the softer, more emotional bits, which I think lends to the overall sort of light and darkness of the story. And then the ultimate kicker for me is legacy. You know, the whole time Hamilton is concerned about his legacy and what is his footprint going to be on the world. And that's why he writes so much. That's why he works so hard and he does everything. But he gets so caught up in his legacy that he forgets about the most important thing, his family. You know, those values that you can't really put a price tag on. And ironically, it's his family and his wife who he betrays, who's the one who really has the biggest impact on his legacy and their legacy overall. And it's Eliza that really is the star at the end of it, because she's the one that carries on his story. She's the one that opens up the orphanages. She's the one that helps build the Washington Monument. She's the one that furthers that Hamilton tradition and makes sure that the history books remember her husband. But she should be remembered just as much as well. And it's a flip, because this whole time we're so focused on Alexander that even we as the audience, kind of like Hamilton, don't see the amazing, powerful woman stood right next to him. And it wouldn't be a review if I didn't take a moment to talk about King George, Jonathan Groff. Man, I've seen him in Mindhunter. I was like, hang on, I've seen that guy. I mean, he's just got a moment when the spit and the spittle is just flying off of his face and he's not even flinching. But it was just the way that he just looked like so above everyone, and just his facial expressions and the way that he was so haughty and so prideful and so arrogant. But you hated him, but you loved him. And it was a great sort of interlude and great breakup moments between the seriousness of the rest of the play. And you could see why the audience loved him as well. I mean, overall, it still hit me. By the time I got to the end, I still felt like, just like on the live, I had been through a journey. Like, you feel exhausted by the end. You feel like you've run the full gauntlet of emotions, to tragedy, to loss, to happiness, to joy. I mean, and everywhere in between, you've been there. And that's what this play gives you. And it's such a simple concept. You know, let's not have to go big budget on this. You know, let's do something simple with the symbolism. Let's have this rotating stage, and we'll have that play on the concept of time and a clock turning and moving around. And that'll be like the only real sort of symbolism we have, besides the way in which the actors deliver it. You know, let's rely on them. Let's rely on good acting. Let's rely on the stage performers. Let's rely on the dancers, and let's make it down to the bare bones and make it about the story. And they did. And I feel like they executed it so well. I mean, I was up clapping at the end of it. It's definitely one now where I want to go see in person. I mean, it was that good to me. I don't think my opinion has lessened since seeing it live. Actually, my opinion of it has increased. So out of 10, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. That 0.5, I don't know. I just feel like I can't give it a perfect 10 because I have to be that guy. But yeah, Hamilton was, man, it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Again, if you guys want to check out my full reaction to it, it is on Patreon right now. As far as the Hamilton journey goes, I know we still have the mixtape to finish. I had a copyright issue with the last live stream. Trying to figure out how we can deal with that, finish the mixtape. We also have some unreleased songs that we're going to react to and some other stuff and moments from the play as well, so stay tuned. Thanks as always, guys. Stay safe, stay positive. It's Knox Hill. Catch you again. I'm out.